She collapsed in the kitchen. One moment she was stirring soup, softly humming the lullabies she used to sing to our daughter. The next, her body hit the floor, as if someone had cut the strings holding her up. The sound wasn't just loud, it was absolute, final. It shattered something inside me. By the time we arrived at the hospital, she was unconscious. Machines keeping her breathing, wires tangled around her arms, a tube down her throat. The steady, mechanical rhythm of life support drowned out everything else. The doctor spoke gently, vaguely reassuring, but it was a nurse, quiet, nervous, who changed everything. She caught me in the hallway, voice shaking, eyes wide with fear that felt almost tangible. "Please," she whispered, "bring your daughter now." I didn't ask why. I just went. Emma was waiting in the lobby, her small hands clenched into fists. When I touched them, they were ice cold, as if her warmth had stayed behind in that kitchen, along with everything else that made sense. Together, we stepped into the ICU. What I saw stole the air from the room. There she was, my wife, pale, tethered to machines, the woman I had loved for over a decade. And she wasn't alone. A man sat beside her, holding her hand as if she belonged to him, whispering her name like a prayer. I looked at him and knew immediately. Her co-worker, the one she'd insisted was just a lunch companion, the one I had once met at a holiday party. Our eyes locked. "You're her daughter?" he asked softly to Emma. "No," I said firm and low. Betrayal had always crept slowly, bit by bit. But this, it hit like a thunderclap. The next hour passed in a blur. Nurses talking, Emma tugging at my sleeve, asking if her mom would survive. I kept calm on the outside, but inside, everything had collapsed. 15 years together. Shared schedules, breakfasts, bedtime stories. Gone in a heartbeat. I had been the dreamer, the planner. She was the light. Or so I thought. I remember the quiet promises whispered in bed, our baby asleep between us, her hands on my cheeks, promising never to lie. But the signs had been there all along. Glances had darted away. Work dinners had stretched too late. Laughter that froze when I entered the room. And then a note tucked secretly into Emma's lunchbox last month. Sweet, secret, a hidden love letter. She laughed it off, but I knew better. That night, I sat alone in the garage, staring at the silver plaque on the toolbox she had gifted me. To my forever. Forever, I realized, had an expiration date. So I stopped grieving. I started watching. I synced her cloud account, installed software, quiet, invisible. I saw everything. Messages, photos, deleted emails. He called her Sunflower. She called him always. That used to be our word. I traced her steps. She wasn't at yoga. She was at room 409 at the Rosewood. I documented it all. At first, I thought she planned to leave me for him. Then the toxicology results came back. She hadn't fainted from stress. She was being poisoned. And not by me. I dug deeper. His history, restraining orders, dead girlfriends, accidental overdoses, patterns hiding in plain sight. He was getting her out of the way slowly, carefully, to start over with my daughter. I didn't know if she knew or pretended not to. It didn't matter anymore. I had the evidence I needed. I stayed silent, let the hospital run its tests. Meanwhile, I met with a lawyer, moved every asset into a trust for Emma, froze our accounts, updated my will, and filed for custody. When she woke 3 days later, I had the divorce papers ready, the restraining order in motion. But I wanted one last, precise, undeniable moment. I invited them both to dinner at her favorite restaurant, the one with candles, soft music, where we used to celebrate anniversaries. She looked worn. He looked smug. Before the appetizers arrived, I slid a folder across the table. "You should see this," I said. Inside, photos from the hotel, message screenshots, GPS logs, a tax report, and my petition for full custody. He froze. She went pale. "You tried to replace me," I said to her, voice low. Then I turned to him. "And you tried to erase her. I know what you did. So does the hospital. Tomorrow morning. The police will too." He stammered, then disappeared before dessert. She sat there, crying into a napkin. The divorce was swift. I received the house, the savings, full custody. She was left with court bills and supervised visits. He vanished, like men like him always do when the spotlight turns on. She writes sometimes, letters, apologies. I don't read them. Emma is healing. She no longer asks. And I've learned that love without truth is just performance. I'm done clapping. Betrayal became my harshest teacher. It taught me patience, silence, timing. I don't regret what I did. I regret believing without proof. But I corrected that with facts, strategy, and a final move so precise there was no question left. Just checkmate.